Megan, let's start with you. What's the story here?
Well, Eric, we're talking about Audi's new LED matrix lights. These are pretty cool. Check them out. They're going on sale on some Audi models in Europe next year. They're about a $3,000 add-on, and they're designed to light up more space in front of the car without blinding drivers in oncoming cars, like when your brights are on. They also can see around corners, which we've seen in some models already. Now, the company says that they enhance both safety and performance. Analysts have positive reviews so far. Take a listen.
One of the things that consumers appreciate more than anything is actually that the headlights look really nice. And when you think about headlights for consumers, taillights as well, this is almost like a car's jewelry. So any kind of headlights that look high-tech, they look a little bit more snazzy, I think is something that for some consumers is going to be very appealing.
So why not in the United States? Let's talk about this regulation. A headlight standard from 1968 is still in place at the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Now, that rule requires high beams and low beams separately, so not lights that dance on a continuum between high and low like these ones do. Now, the Audi luxury unit is pushing regulators. So is GM and BMW. Regulators are expected to meet with the industry about this in the next few months, but no set date yet. Back to you guys.
All right, Megan. Matt is here, as we mentioned. And Matt, what do you look? We talk to you all the time about cars.
If somebody's going to give us an auto takeaway,
I mean, nobody appreciates car jewelry like
exactly. And I mean, really the bottom line here is the car makers are going to be lobbying hard for this in Washington because it's all about how much money they can charge you to put this jewelry on your car. Of course, your headlights probably work just fine now, but if you can spend an extra...
That's the key, right? As Megan said, $3,000 add-on.
Exactly. And the same is true, for example, for the new Ducati Panigale that I got. It's $3,000 to add the full LED headlights. And a lot of people are doing that. And in fact, I know a lot of guys on the floor who have gone out and bought aftermarket LED headlights for their Audi A8s and for their trucks. It's just something that you do if you have the money. I mean, this car costs $75,000 to start, so adding a $3,000 accessory is something that those kind of people with wallets like that can easily do.
But is it just jewelry?
I mean, they work really well. They're very cool, but don't your headlights work fine now?
Matt, let's take it back to D.C. for 1 second. Megan?
I mean, I think the case that they're going to need to make, that the car makers are going to need to make to regulators, though, obviously, regulators are going to be looking at, is this a safety issue or is this a money-making issue? So if they can make the case that it's a safety issue, also, the analyst that we talked to said you're going to see a lot of other car makers doing this over the next 5 years as a matter of fuel efficiency. So, I mean, it's a little bit in terms of energy conservation, but they're going to be trying to make those little tweaks, and every little bit counts. So those are the things that they're really going to need to press upon regulators and try and take away from the fact that this is a moneymaker.
Megan, that is an excellent point. Matt, the headlights that I grew up with, the headlights that I've got on my car right now, they don't look anything like that. Work just fine.
They do work fine, but these LEDs, they're going to last longer than the headlights that you've got in your car. They're going to draw less power, so they require less in the form of a massive wire harness, and they will actually improve the fuel efficiency, as hard as this to believe, just a little bit. The question that lawmakers, though, are going to be concerned about is safety, and NHTSA has tested, for example, some LED brake lights, and there are more accidents with those than the conventional incandescent bulb brake lights. For some reason, drivers
because
behind
it's jarring?
you, they're just as bright, but for some reason, the incandescent bulbs, your mind is more trained to see that and know you need to stop when you see this sort of foggy red light as opposed to this bright LED light. So they have seen more accidents with these, and it'll be interesting to see what they find going forward.
Pretty interesting.
Are you familiar with, just curious, are you familiar with any other federal regulations akin to this, headlight limit that prevent car makers from putting things on American cars that are available somewhere else, say in Europe?
Absolutely. I mean, headlight placement, for one thing, has been a problem for a lot of American car sales. Maserati, for example, has to put a different bumper on the car that it sells in the U.S. than it did for the cars that it sells in Europe because the headlights aren't placed at the right height. So you see that a lot as far as crazy U.S. rules that stop us from getting the best cars.